All right, what is up, takers? It is Tyler. This is Ty's Take Today Live. We do this every Thursday and Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern, currently streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So thank you all so much for joining us and rocking with us every week and every Thursday and Sunday. Y'all already know I'm going to give you the rundown real quick. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/at It's Ty's Take Today. Instagram as well at It's Ty's Take Today. And of course, be sure to go ahead right now and tap on that subscribe button on YouTube so you can stay up to date with all of our interviews, behind the scenes content, exclusive interviews, and all of the topics and trending today's stories. Also, if you're old school or you just want to go ahead and visit and find out more about our platform, TysTakeToday.com. We keep it all real simple, straight to the point, and easy for you all. And hopefully you all are having an amazing week. I'm going to tell you all real quick. It's on the bookshelf because I love to read. But I am so excited to dive into this book by Big Sean, Go Higher. So that's my recommendation for the week. 5 practices for purpose, success, and inner peace. I'm going to put this right here because I'm about to dive into this book very soon. But that's my recommendation. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and add our first guest to the virtual stage. He is a life coach and an entrepreneur. He does it all. So without further ado, Sharif Colbert.
What is up, Ty? How you doing, man?
What's going on? How are you? Thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm good, man. Trying to stay warm. It's a little chilly out here in ATL, so it's a little cold. But other than that, it's good.
Absolutely. The snow is falling down here in Ohio. And I'm like, it feels like Christmas. And I love the snow because I don't drive in it. So I'm like, let it snow. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us. And I really want to introduce you to our audience and to our platform. So let's dive in and just share with our audience a little bit more about yourself. I know you've built a very strong and successful reputation as a life coach, particularly working with fathers. So can you share with us a little bit about what drew you to focus on helping fathers build better relationships with their children?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I was actually going to this school called IPEC, to become a life coach. And at the end of it, they were asking questions like, well, what do you want to be your niche? And I really couldn't think of anything. And then Kobe Bryant, like he had his girl dad thing. And I was like, oh, that's super dope. And I was like, well, let me create something like a little bit different. I was like, mine's going to be all girl, all dad crew. And I started to do that. But then what happened was I started to ask other people questions like, well, what do you think about this? If you want your dreams killed, start asking other people. Okay, let me just start by that. So I started asking other people like, well, you should do this. Well, what about this? And what about the guys? And what about this? And then I just got in my head and I'm like, you know what, forget it. I'm going to go and I'm going to do something that I know I'm good at, which is confidence. So I became a confidence coach, and I was a confidence coach for about 4 years. And then after that, this year, I was 2024, the end of 2024, I was like, yo, you know what? My heart and God is telling me, or the universe, whoever is telling me that I really need to go with my passion. And my passion is being able to help fathers become better fathers or stronger and help them have better relationships with their kids. And the reason why I did that is because my relationship with my kids, I had a good relationship with my kids, but I thought I was super dad. And my daughters had to sit me down and was like, bro, you missing some stuff. So when they started telling me things like that, I was like, okay, I listened. And I was already in therapy, but I decided to start talking to my therapist about like why my emotions were the way that they were, because I was emotionally not connected, loving them, caring for them, but I wasn't connected to their emotions. And it was very challenging for me at first. And so I started going to therapy and I talked to my therapist about it. And then total transparency, when I started coaching, they taught me how to actively listen. They taught me how to acknowledge and validate. And those are the things that I was missing from my kids the most. And so I decided to start employing those type of skills into my coaching. And ever since then, man, it's been super successful. I have a phenomenal relationship with my kids now. And our relationship has been great now for at least 5-6 years. But those are the reasons why I decided to get into it. I hope I answered that question.
Yes, absolutely. And then what are some of the key challenges that you've experienced with like your clients when it comes to, parenting and then, making sure that that bond is implemented? And how do you guide your clients in the right direction to overcoming those challenges and obstacles?
Well, the most challenge that I see from my dads is that dads don't really want to be vulnerable. They don't want to talk about emotions. They think that, I'm a provider and that's all I need to do. And my job is to show them like, nah, you more than just a provider. There's the emotional aspect that I was just talking about of myself that I was missing that is there. My son and I, we actually just did a podcast on this, and it was the 3 pillars, and it was emotional, it's financial, and it's physical. And you have to have a combination of all 3 of those. And so I try to get my dads to understand like, you guys have to have all 3 of these in order to be successful, in order to be a good dad. So I think that a lot of dads feel the pressure of being the provider and not necessarily being that emotional anchor. And so my job is to make sure I try to pull that out of them. Like, no, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be emotional. It's okay to talk to your kids and tell them that your feelings are hurt. It's okay to do that. So that's how I do it.
Absolutely. I think it's so important because, males especially, and then I know mental health is such a huge, focus and topic for all people, but, especially in the Black community. And, when it comes to men and fathers, how do you feel about breaking that negative connotation or that negative stigma when it comes to mental health? Because I'm gonna tell you, I'm a Cancer, and Cancers, I always say this, are extremely emotional. Like I used to work at Target, and every time somebody would ask me how am I doing, how are you, it was always, oh, I'm good, life's great, because we sometimes our jobs require us to have that personality, even though deep down we may be going through some stuff. So I call it like the Target smile. But how do you feel about breaking that negative stigma and really letting people out there know that it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to have these emotions and these types of feelings?
So that's a great question, and it leads me to what I also created. Is I created this safe space for men of color, and they are the ones, to be completely honest with you, they are the ones that showed me that this can happen, like that this can be something that I can do, meaning like coach dads that want to have a better relationship with their kids. Because man, when I get in there with those fellas, man, they are open, they're vulnerable, they're honest. But I believe it's just all about setting the right platform, setting the right, intentions, letting them know there's no shame and there's no judgment. And that allows them to open up. And it's been an amazing journey. It's like one of the top things in my life that I've done. It's like just having this space for these men to be able to do all of those things. And it's been extraordinary, man. Like I've had to actually make 2 groups now. We have 2 groups now because the group it continues to grow larger and larger. And again, once other men they see me, they see I'm open, they see I'm honest. I don't judge them, none of those things. And so they feel safe. And so if you create an environment that's safe, if you create an environment that's non-judgmental, if you create an environment that's non-shaming, I believe that people will come. And so I believe that people will start to come to my coaching because they will see that, I can be vulnerable with this cat. Like I can relate to him. Like it's okay. He can share his story and he can be all right with it. So that's how I get him to open up to me. I think that's what you asked. Sorry.
Yes. No, that exactly answered my question. So can we talk a little bit more about your life coaching services that you offer, as well as I know you predominantly work with fathers. Are you open to all clients? Or are you currently focusing in on fathers?
So I am open. So again, I was doing confidence coaching. Okay. And I'm super dope at that. But I am specifically targeting fathers right now. But if you are lacking confidence and you want to come and get some confidence tips and you want me to coach you in confidence, I absolutely will do that. However, I'm pouring my money into advertising and things of that nature to directly target fathers that want better relationships with their kids. But I'm not going to ever just say, hey, look, you're on your own. I can't help you with confidence, because that's embedded in me. That's embedded in me. Like it's always going to be there. I'm always going to have that skill. So I am able to do that. But my main focus though is helping fathers have better relationship with their kids. But to answer your question, long story short, yes, I will work with you if you're lacking confidence and you need help in that area as well.
Absolutely. And can you share with us a success story of a client who has truly transformed their relationship with their child through your life coaching?
Absolutely, man. One father came to me and he was struggling to connect with his teenage daughter. And through coaching, he learned that actively listening, as I talked to you before, and expressing his feelings and spending quality time based on her interests, over time, their relationship, they started to heal. They started to bond. So that's definitely one success story. You don't understand, Tyler, like how much just actively listening is such a huge part of everything. And, you know, active listening is, you know, I'm listening to you, you're listening to me. I'm not cutting you off, trying to get my point across. And that's a lot of times that's what people do, is they think that they're active listening, but they're really listening to get their point across. And so once I got him to understand that, he was like, damn, he was like, I ain't look at it like that. So what we do is each week, and maybe you'll ask me this, sorry if I'm getting too far deep into it, but what we do is each week is we practice something different. So just for instance, we'll practice active listening. So we'll have 1 hour session about active listening, and then I'll give them, you know, homework. Like, okay, I want you to go home and I want you to try this for this week. Try out active listening. And throughout the week, I'll check in with them. I'll shoot them a text like, yo, how's it going? You know, and that's the accountability portion. Like, how's it going? What's going on? What struggles are you running into? Or are you running into any struggles? And we go from there. So that was one success story. And that is basically how I do it, though. It's like each week we tackle a new subject. And yeah, that's what we do.
Absolutely. And not only being a life coach, you also have your own podcast called You Are Dope. So can you share with our audience a little bit more about what inspired you to pursue that project? I know we talked a little bit about off air about it, but go ahead and I just want to promote the podcast and kind of introduce the podcast to our audience as well.
I appreciate that. You guys can tune in. This is called the You Are Dope podcast. And originally I was doing it by myself, but then I was like, you know what, this would be something dope I actually started doing with my kids. So my daughter, Taylor, and I, she's the second to the youngest, we started doing it, and it was like really, really, really good. But then my son, like, I started having him on it. So it's kind of become like this family podcast now. You know, my son and I, we talk about fatherhood, being fathers. He's a dad. So we talk about those things. And my daughter and I, we just talk about a little bit of everything. And my daughter and I, we totally balance each other out, because as you can tell, I have a lot of energy, and she's very chill, very laid back. And it'll be like, hey, how's everybody going? I'm like, hey, how's everybody going? And she's like, hey, what's up? So we balance each other out. So I love doing the podcast, man. We do it every other Wednesday. Our episode just came out yesterday. If you tune in, it's on all platforms. It's doing really, really well. And again, it's me and my kids. We have a good time doing it. I love doing it. I love sharing knowledge. I love sharing information with people. And it's fun. It's really fun. And it really just allows me to have that quality time with my kids. And I really appreciate that the most out of anything.
Absolutely. And speaking of your daughter, Taylor actually is in the chats right now. She says, a proud daughter and co-host. So shout outs to Taylor as well in the chat. And then
that's my baby. Hey, baby girl, I love you.
And then be sure, like you said, so it's available. You Are Dope is available on all streaming platforms. What are some projects that you are currently working on for this year and later into this year, and what can we expect? What is your motto for 2025?
Man, to help as many people as possible. Like, truthfully, that really is it, man. I want to help as many fathers as I possibly can. I want to continue growing the safe space for men of color, because that's super, super dope and super important to me. And I want to continue like doing the podcast with my kids, man, continue bonding with them. But most importantly, though, Tyler, for real, it's just like helping as many people as I can. You know, when I got into the niche of helping fathers be better fathers or strengthen their relationship with their kids, for me, excuse me, that's such a rippling effect. So I'm helping this dad be better, you know, so he can, you know, communicate better with his kids. He teaches his kids that, and they teach their kids that. So I just have this bigger picture, man, of just like, I want to help save the world. Like, really and truly, like, that's the ultimate goal, is to help save the world and help make this world a better place. So I'm doing my part, man. I'm trying to do my part.
Absolutely. And I just, before we wrap up, I do want to say, I want to recognize you for the work that you're putting in daily and helping to make a more positive impact and a long lasting impact, especially like you said, when it comes to being a father and being, and helping your clients who are fathers that may be struggling or having some obstacles or challenges within their relationship with their kids.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. It really is. It's dope work that I'm doing, man, for real. Like, it really is, and it really touches my heart. You ain't gonna get me on here crying today, all right, Oprah? So, it really does mean a lot to me, man. It really does. So thank you. I appreciate you acknowledging that, Todd. Thank you.
Absolutely. And before we get out of here and get on to our next part of the show, what advice would you give to fathers out there who may be feeling hesitant about seeking life coaching or even mental health services? Or, if there's a father out there that may be watching that is unsure how to begin this process of improving their relationship with their children?
I would say first, you just have to be self-aware. You have to be very self-aware. You have to actually listen to your kids. And also, if this podcast, if this right here, if this resonates with you, if you know that you're missing the mark on something, don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out. LifeCoachATL.com. I offer a free session. So, just to make sure that we're a match. But don't be afraid to reach out, though. Don't be afraid to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. A lot of men, we think oh, men are just supposed to. No, we have emotions, we have feelings, we have all those things as well. And it's up to us to be able to express ourselves. And so if you see something like myself that you're like, yo, I actually connect with that cat right there, reach out to me, man. I'm accessible. So I would say don't be afraid to reach out. That would be the most important thing. And don't be afraid to open up, and don't think that you're weak or you're less than because you're asking for help, because you're not. Actually, you're a very strong person if you can actually ask for help. So that's what I would say.
Absolutely. Sharif Colbert, thank you so much. And before you get out of here, the website is posted in the ticker below as well, lifecoachatl.com. And excuse me, I'm trying to get through this cold. Excuse me. Live, right? The show goes on. So in the past, what we've been doing is a quick little rapid game of rapid fire questions with all of our guests on this season. So if you're down, a quick game of rapid fire questions?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. So first up, what is one piece of advice you'd give to your teenage self?
Whew, my teenage self, damn. It gets better. You going through a lot. Can I say shit on here? Sorry, I just did.
Yes. You can be as organic and as authentic and true to yourself as possible.
All right. I would tell my teenage self, yo, Sharif, man, you're going through a lot right now, but I promise you it's going to get better. You keep your head up, and I promise you it's going to get better. So that's definitely what I'll tell myself.
Absolutely. I like that. And if you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
One meal. I don't want to be stereotypical and say chicken, but I'll probably say some form of chicken. No.
I'm right there with you, but I would have to say steak. I love steak.
Yeah, I like a good steak too. But you can do so many things with chicken, though. You can bake it, you can cook it, you can chick it, you can fry it, you can do whatever. So
that's very true. Many different options. What is your guilty pleasure TV show or movie?
Guilty pleasure TV show. Do I have a guilty pleasure TV show? I don't know. I don't think I have one. Guilty pleasure. I don't know. I got to come back to that one. But favorite movie of all time is probably Devil in a Blue Dress with Don Cheadle and Denzel Washington. Yeah, that's probably my favorite movie. Anything with Don Cheadle, and I'm a huge Don Cheadle fan. So anything with Don Cheadle in it. I can't think of a favorite. I don't watch Love and Hip Hop. My husband, he watches. I guess sometimes I can get into Real Housewives. I guess that would be it.
Real Housewives of Potomac?
You said what?
Real Housewives of Potomac?
Yes. Whatever one he's watching, I'll tune in and I'll act like I'm not watching, but really I'm not. Oh, so what happened this week? And what happened?
I love me some Real Housewives of Potomac, so I can relate on that one. Would you rather have the ability to fly or read minds?
Well, I think I can already read minds pretty well, so fly.
Absolutely. And then last, if you could coach any celebrity, who would it be?
Who's the dad out there that's just wilding out? I'm trying to think.
Nick Cannon?
Yeah, probably Nick Cannon. Man, why are you having so many kids? What's going on with you, Nick? Maybe that. Maybe I imagine that Nick is probably a phenomenal father, but I know that he has a lot of kids, so I would want to ask maybe that. I don't know if I could coach him, but I'm trying to think of some celebrity that's you'd be like, damn, what is he? Maybe Michael Jackson when he was alive, when he was hanging his baby over the balcony. Mike, what are you doing? Maybe Mike.
Absolutely. And Sharif, you have a whole bunch of people in the chats, actually. Your daughter and Thomas said Beauty in Black.
Oh, it's the Tyler Perry movie, the Tyler Perry show. Oh my God, I could not stop watching it. It was so horrible, but I could not stop watching it. It was so good though. So yeah, that is my guilty pleasure. That was my guilty pleasure. I'll acknowledge that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is on my list too. I've been watching it. So
It's so
I have
good.
it's super addicting. It's such a mess, but it's super addicting.
It is a mess. And I have a lot of friends on that show actually, so I do actually support. So I got friends on there too. But it's good, but it's a mess.
It is. All right, Sharif, I just want to say again, thank you so much for joining us. Closing us out, is there any last messages or final takeaways from our conversation today? Drop any words of wisdom, any inspirational quotes you want to drop us?
Yeah, man. I mean, overall, life is what you make it. You know what I mean? We got one thing at this thing called life. Make the most of it. You know, be a good person. Help somebody else out. You know, pay it forward. All of those things, they all sound cliche, but those are all things that I definitely practice in my everyday life. Is I try to pay it forward every single day and just try to pay it forward to somebody. You know, be a good person. You know, we got enough evil out in this world right now that we don't need anymore. So just try to be a good person. Forgive people. Give yourself grace. Give other people grace. And love on yourself. That's the number one thing, is be able to love on yourself. Because when you start loving on yourself, you'll see that you'll start loving on other people as well. And it's a lot easier to do that way. So that's it.
Absolutely. Sharif Colbert, thank you so much again for joining us. We're going to hopefully have to have you back on the show to talk about just life coaching and mental health and all of the topics. So I just want to say thank you again so much for joining us. We're going to also post all of your contact and social media links in the description of this video as well. Lifecoachatl.com for all of the latest information.
I appreciate you, Ty. Thank you, man. Anytime, brother.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
All right, you too.
All right. And for those of you that are tuning in, that just was life coach Sharif Colbert. And you are watching Ty's Take Today live. I am so excited for this next guest on the show. We are going to be talking about her story, her journey. She's a community activist, entrepreneur, media mogul. The lists go on and on. So I am super excited. And just a reminder, if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch, you can go ahead and be sure to share your take and your perspective in the comments. We'll go ahead and share them on the screen. If you have any questions for us during our conversations. And without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome our next guest, Zsa Zsa C. Hubbard. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. I know we had a little bit of technical difficulties earlier, so I apologize, but it's the industry. You're here, I'm here, and I'm just super excited to introduce you and your story with our audience and introduce you to our platform.
Well, life happens, things happen. I'm in media, so I definitely know a phone cord could change the whole trajectory of things. Microphone slip, not having an extra battery, so things happen. But thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So I want to just go ahead and dive right in if we can. And I want to talk a little bit about your journey. I know I mentioned just a little bit of who you are, but for those that may not be familiar, can we talk a little bit more about who you are and those pivotal moments in your life that led you to where you are today?
Absolutely. So I'm Zsa Zsa Hubbard from the West Side, Joy Road, exit 9, come up off the freeway. I graduated from McKenzie High School, and I've worked in government, worked in nonprofit and community sector. I'm a mom. My son graduated from Cass Tech. I was a teenage mom in high school, my senior year after I won homecoming queen, and just been doing what I love to do, and that is give back to my community. And the experiences that I've had being the oldest child of 7 and watching some of the things that my father has gone through, some of the things that my mom has gone through, as well as just being a part of the African-American community. You know, the things that transpire in our communities, they need people to step up and speak up and actually put their money where their mouth is. And that's what I do.
Absolutely, using your voice to empower and uplift communities and making sure that a whole wide variety of topics and issues that are affecting these underserved communities. Or sometimes I feel like even on our platform, we try to have those tough conversations, especially about mental health and the lack of, just there's so many topics that are so easier for people to sweep under the rug or
Yeah.
completely run away and run from because they don't want to talk about those things. So I think it's so important to use our platforms. But being somebody that has her hat in so many different projects, how do you balance wearing those different hats and, taking the time to focus on your mental health as well?
Well, one thing, I only do things that I love. That's the first and foremost thing. I think one of the things that helps your mental health is not putting things on your plate that don't want to be, that you don't want to be there. I take on projects and services and events that I know that I'm passionate about, that I know speak to my heart. What comes from the heart speaks to the heart. And so you're not going to have me on this side of town if it doesn't tickle my fancy, it doesn't float my boat. I mind the business that pays me, and I'm not in no other area where I should not be. And I also tap into the spirit. Like, God, where you want me to be? Is this where I should be? Should I go to this event? Should I host for these people? Should I moderate this? Should I go here? Sometimes we consult with everybody but God. And that's one of the things that I do. But in terms of my mental health, I turn my phone off. I say no. I have time and take time out for me, which is extremely important. And I'm okay with hurting people's feelings, not because I want to, but because I'm the most important thing to me. And sometimes we put so many other people ahead of ourselves, and then we get mad when they don't put us ahead of them. So I've just learned to make me a self-care a priority.
Absolutely. I think that is so important to, not just be that type of say yes person just to say yes or feel like that we have to do it all. Like, it's okay to say no. It's okay to take time to focus on me to make sure that I'm okay before jumping into and lending a helping hand to, just all of the projects.
And that's the fastest way to burnout. People don't realize that. You'll be irritable, upset, and angry, and you don't know why. It's because you've been saying yes to everybody but yourself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dropping gems, because that is the truth. Speaking of issues and topics, what are some causes and issues that are of importance or extremely meaningful to you currently, that you may be working on or putting your activism energy into?
Well, I started the Kelly's Kids Foundation after my mother passed away on March 24th, 2015. And as I said before, I'm the oldest of 7. And so I saw how my mother's death affected my younger 3 siblings. My youngest sibling, she was going to high school. She was graduating from 8th grade. My other sister was graduating from high school, going to college. And my brother had just went to Eastern Michigan. He was a freshman. And so right now we have an initiative called the PWA. You heard of NWA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So PWA is Parents with an Agenda, because we don't have enough parents paying attention to what their children are doing. And to God be the glory, my mother, Kelly Hubbard, she was an active parent, a family advocate. Every one of our teachers knew our mother. Every principal knew our mother. The gas stations we went to knew our mother. The liquor stores we patronized knew our mother. The Coney Islands we stopped at knew our mother. So we need more parents like that to be active and paying attention to what's happening with their children. These kids aren't bad. They're not crashing out just because they just want to do a bunch of dumb shit. They're looking for somebody to pay attention to them, somebody to pour into them, somebody to guide and direct them. And if you're a parent and you don't know what the hell you doing, how can you really help your child? And there's so much generational trauma in our communities with people that look like me, is because we're not doing the work as adults, and we expect our kids to do the work when they're kids. So every week we have a weekly parent workshop where I have a multitude of facilitators. This week is going to be at Durfee Innovation Center from 12 to 4. I have Marvin Cotton Jr. He's going to be coming, Dr. Marvin Cotton Jr. He's going to be coming to speak. He did 20 years in prison for a crime he didn't even commit. He was innocent. I have Otis Bellinger, a Better Men, where he teaches young men how to be better young men. He's going to help facilitate those relationships between fathers and sons and mothers and sons. I have Queen Butterfly. She's a community activist. She's going to be speaking. I have Willie Marshall, a former NFL player. He's going to be talking about decision making. But I've had a multitude of facilitators to come and speak, Ty. And I think if we give people the opportunity to utilize their gifts, and their talents, we can help our communities. We won't have to depend on the government. It don't matter who the president is. It doesn't matter who our Congress people are, because we'll be so locked in with making stuff happen for each other that we won't be dependent upon those particular entities to help our communities. So that's what I got popping right now.
Absolutely. And, also being a media mogul yourself, you've carved out a space for yourself in such a competitive industry. So I have to ask you, from a fellow, I'm currently in school I just recently began my college journey to obtain my associate's degree in multimedia journalism.
Okay.
So that's a little bit about me. I've been doing podcasting for quite some time. But being a fellow, we understand each other because we're both in the industry. What is some advice that you would give out there to people out there that may be interested in pursuing a career in multimedia or activism or even being an entrepreneur?
Well, the first thing I would say is don't try to be like anybody else. Find your 1 to 3 people that you admire, their style. But don't try to mimic what they have, because what you'll become is a carbon copy, and it'll become tiresome because you're trying to become them and not find out what's the best part about you. There was a time where people used to be like, oh my God, your personality is so big and you're so loud, and oh my God, you're doing too much. But that was the personality that got me to where I am today. Don't ever minimize yourself. Even if you're not somebody's cup of tea, you somebody's champagne. Okay. I would say take your time. It's not a rush. I would also say if somebody thinks you're competition, then you're the shit. You're a lot further ahead of them than you are behind them. I would say trust and believe God wholeheartedly if this is your passion. If it's your passion, not just because you see other people doing it and you think that it's popular, because what'll happen is if the passion isn't there, then you'll easily be able to put it down. Make sure you're passionate about it. When you only got 2 likes, when you only got a few views, are you still going to give it your all? If you only had 1 sale today, are you still going to be an entrepreneur tomorrow? You can't look for instant gratification. You're going to have to look for and be okay with that delayed gratification, because there was a point in time where I only had 21 followers. There was a time where I only had 3 subscribers on my YouTube, my son, my sister, and myself. But you have to know that all of the work and the seeds that you're pouring in, there's a harvest that's going to come. And sometimes we want the roses immediately, not knowing that there's going to be a sprout of a plant that comes out first before you get the roses.
Zsa Zsa dropping gems. I love it. I appreciate all of the information and insight that you're giving, not only for our audience, but for me as well. I'm really absorbing and taking that all in. So I do want to ask, being an activist, what are the, I know this is not off. This is on the spot. It's just a question. It's not.
Okay, I'm cool with it.
It wasn't on my list, but I want to know your thoughts because I know things are getting really interesting politically and socially within the city of Detroit right now.
Mm-hmm.
And being someone who is from Michigan, 9 Mile nonetheless, but still, I'm not one of those people that are going to falsely represent and say I'm a Detroiter.
Thank
you. You have those people, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do. Representing the D, and they ain't contributing to the D, ain't walked the streets of the D, ain't caught the bus in the D, none of that. They ain't went to Northland, Fairlane, none of that.
Don't even know what any of this is.
Exactly.
It's deeper than Campus Martius or Greektown. We're talking about the neighborhoods and the communities and the families that truly need to see positive change. So that being said, I want to know your thoughts, if you're willing to share,
Yeah.
about the upcoming, just the political climate in Detroit, and what are, if there's any politicians out there, because my network does range from a wide variety of people as well. What is some key focal points that you think politicians need to be focusing on when it comes to issues that are impacting families and communities in the city?
The first things first is, one, we shouldn't have multiple people running for one office. I think we need to get out of that. I think that's absolutely ridiculous, and I think it's stupid. I think we need to be able to get in the room with one another and be able to say, hey, who's the most qualified candidate, so that we don't keep losing when it comes to these elections. I also think that we need to educate our voters. So many people want people to vote for them, but they don't have a clue as to what you even do. You want me to vote for you as a senator, but what does a senator do? You want me to vote for you as a congressperson. What does a congress do? And if it, and once I find out what you do, have you been doing it? So voter education is a part of it. Being able to have the conversation with other potential candidates as to say, it's not your time right now, and be okay with being told it's not your time right now. I also think that our young people need to understand the value of their voice, their value of getting involved, their value of even becoming candidates. My first time running for office, I was 21 years old. And my peers, they thought I was crazy. Why would you run? You only 21. Well, guess what? 21-year-olds are making hella bread. They're making big impacts. Why would you not? I think we need to encourage the next generation to be more civically engaged, because they're going to be affected by this. I think in terms of just our city, our state in general, I am concerned, because, of course, you know, this is Big Gretch's last term. Mayor Duggan, he's going to be running for mayor along with Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist. He's running for mayor. Running for governor. So it's just a little annoying to know the transition of leadership, and just being able to encourage new faces to run and really get engaged. So that would be my advice.
Absolutely. And looking ahead for you, what are some of your goals for 2025, and even, let's say, for 5 years from now? How do you plan on continuing your legacy? And are there any specific projects? I know you mentioned the one event that's coming up, so we're going to go ahead and make sure that we include that in the description as well for those that may want to find out more information.
PWA Parents with an Agenda with the Kelly's Kids Foundation. So we have the Hustle for the Heart Health and Community Fair that we have coming up February 15th. That's going to be at Durfee Innovation Society in Detroit, right next to Central High School. Also doing TV and radio and media. I've been doing that, continue to do that. And then, of course, I have a few films that are going to be coming out that's going to be distributed through Tubi. Shout out to Dennis Reed and Sonia, 1919 Distribution. So I have a few shows, Street Legal, Alabama. I'm in 5 of those episodes. I'm in 3 movies. So that'll be coming up. But primarily 1 year to 5 years from now, I'll have the #1 talk show within the city of Detroit. I'm pretty sure it'll be syndicated. I know that I'll have one of the #1 nonprofit organizations within Metro Detroit and the Midwest. I am looking to take my media talents across the country. I'm also looking to expand on my marketing business, and looking to do more interviews with celebrities, looking to be on more red carpets, and really take it up a notch. Grammys, awards, BET awards, like, let's take it up a notch. I've done the locals. That I interviewed Beyonce mama, it was on and popping.
Wow, that is incredible.
Yeah.
I am telling you, I'm gonna have to have a actual conversation outside of on air, because I am definitely interested in learning how we can collaborate and work together, because hearing you just talk about your goals for the next this year and into the next 5 years has me super excited for you. We share very common interests, so I definitely am looking forward to seeing all of your success and all of those dreams and goals coming to fruition. And then I do also have, I just want to make sure I have the correct website. Is this
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, I did my research. I knew it.
Yes, 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 yes.
And then people can also follow you on Instagram as well. And
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. I also teach public speaking as well. I teach public speaking and media training for entrepreneurs and artists, those individuals, because I'm tired of us sounding dumb. Beautiful platforms like yourself, Ty, and we're not prepared, right? And so we want to be on these platforms and showcase our gifts and our talents, but then you get the news in front of you and you don't know what to say or how to segue from your questions, or you want to do a business pitch and you don't know how to overcome that fear of being able to speak in front of other individuals. And so I've been doing this since I was 12 years old. Okay, and I'm fine. It's wine and I get better with time.
Okay, it gets greater later. Bevy Smith always says.
Clock it.
Awesome. And before we let you go for the evening, I do we've been doing this with all of our guests on this season. It's a quick like rapid fire game.
Okay.
So and the rapid fire is always, we don't send them in advance. Nobody knows what I'm about to ask. So I want to just ask first, do I have your permission? Can we play a quick game? All right. So first up, what is your go-to karaoke song?
My go-to karaoke song, anything Mary J. Blige.
Yes, yes.
Because you can just rock to Mary.
Absolutely. Even if you're like me and have no rhythm, you can find the rhythm somewhere. If you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be?
Figure? Oh. Any historical figure?
Historical.
Man, that'll be a toss-up. Nelson Mandela and Shirley Chisholm.
Yes, yes. What is one thing you can't leave the house without besides your phone?
Oh, my lipstick.
Yes. Yes. And then if you could have any person play yourself in a movie or a television show, who would it be and why?
Oh, so it would be Felicia Rashad would play the older version of me. I would probably have maybe Robin Givens play the grown-up version of me. I would probably have or Lala Anthony or Taraji P. Younger version of me, it would probably be maybe Tia and Tamara.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
I can see all of those, especially Taraji for sure.
Yeah.
And then lastly, if you could instantly master any skill, what would it be? If you haven't mastered it already.
You know what? Any skill that I would want to master finances, like anything dealing with the money.
I feel you because I have, look, let's see real quick. I have 1, 2. I'm about to give you all my book suggestions because let me tell you, it's something that is on my goals. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Millionaire Next Door.
Where's the money?
I will teach you to be rich.
Need the monies. Like I would want to learn. Yes, I would want to learn how to finesse because like we're decades behind on the money game. You know what I'm saying? Like we're just learning about the trust fund flips and the insurance flips and the business credit dips and the, you know what I'm saying? Like before then, everything was hush hush and other ethnicities knew about it, but that's what I would want to know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, just a portion of your journey with our audience. And like I said, hopefully we can connect and collaborate on future projects.
I'm always looking for other hosts for things that I can't host.
Hey, I am there. I love just being able to connect with people and share other people's stories. Zsa Zsa, thank you so much again.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Like I said, we're going to make sure we include all of your social media platforms, links in the description so that our audience can follow you. Any last final words of wisdom, any knowledge Any takeaways you'd like to share with us before we wrap up for today's episode?
Absolutely. The enemy's job is to kill, steal, and destroy. So if you feel something is being stolen from you, if you feel like something is trying to destroy what you're being built, then know that the enemy and its minions and believe God, then you're going to have to increase your faith, increase your prayer life, and increase your self-care in order to fight this spiritual war that we are in. Because what we are doing right now is not just following our journey and our paths, but we're also shedding our light to other people's lives that are in a dark place, and the enemy don't like that. And the minute that you understand your passion and your purpose, and that the enemy is going to come after that, it's going to cause a frustration. It's going to cause chaos. The goal is to get you distracted and off of your path. And so long as you know what the enemy's job is, you also can understand what God is going to do for you all.
Absolutely. Zsa Zsa C, Hubbard, thank you again so much for joining us today. We will definitely be in touch. And like I said, we'll be sure to include all of the event information and reshare everything on our social media platforms as well. So again, thank you.
Absolutely. What up, though, y'all? Peace.
Hey, what up, Doe? All right. And once again, this has been Ty's Take Today Live. Thank you guys so much again for joining us. We do this each and every Thursday and Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to follow our incredible guests on social media. That just was Zsa Zsa C. Hubbard, media mogul, entrepreneur, all around a complete mastermind filled with inspiration. So I just want to say thank you again for joining us. And then earlier we did also speak to life coach Sharif Colbert, who dropped gems as well and shared part of his journey and the services that he offers as a life coach. So if there are any fathers out there that may be struggling or battling some obstacles or challenges with their relationships with their kids or their child, be sure to reach out to him for his services. And like I said, we'll be sure to put all of their social media in the descriptions of this video as well. Y'all already know how we do. That's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you to everyone that tuned in. Also, be sure to go ahead, if you haven't already, go ahead and give us a like on Facebook, facebook.com/@itsTysTakeToday. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram @itsTysTakeToday. Also, be sure to subscribe and hit that subscribe button on YouTube as we continue to grow our audience. We do this for our takers. So if you want to be a part of the taker family, you already know what you got to do. You got to follow us and connect with us and help us amplify voices and talk about mental health and different topics that are impacting our communities. Sometimes, like I said earlier, those stories are swept under the rug or people choose not to talk about them. But here on our platform, we are talking about them. So that's going to do it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And then for the latest as well, TysTakeToday.com. We try to keep it all real simple for you. Everything is pretty much Ty's Take Today. That being said, that's going to do it for this episode. We will see you all right back here on Sunday with more amazing stories, topics, and conversations that matter. That being said, have a great night, have a great morning, have a great afternoon, wherever you are. We're out of here, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, night. Hey, we'll be right back here on Sunday.